Hi, I'm so excited about this new design of mine, the Star of Butin, but it has a tricksy cast on that is easy once you get the hang of it, which means it is the perfect thing to show you in the video. So the first thing you're going to need to do before you go to do the cast on for Star of Butin is to string on all of your beads in order. You can see that the beads that I use that go in between the stitches are bigger than the beads that are in the swag, like in that little triangle wedge right there. If you want to think about this as like a pie or something, and then that's a wedge. So you need to string on the beads in order so that they lay correctly. This is probably the part of the pattern that takes the longest time. It takes me, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 minutes to string on all the beads for this. I just listen to an audiobook or the radio and get them on there. So I think once you get the hang of it, it's no big thing. So I've got all my beads strung on. I decided to do like a silver and gold version Star of Butin because I hadn't done one of those yet. And if you look at the pattern, after you get the beads on your yarn, the first thing that the pattern has you do is measure off 60 inches of yarn and slide 71 beads onto that length. So I'm going to quickly do that with you. I kind of know where the 71 beads are. If I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right up to here is 71 beads. I'm going to get them down on my 60 inches of yarn. The other thing that is a really good little trick to do, and this is written in the pattern, is to tie a knot onto the end of your yarn after you string on the beads, just so that if you put down your knitting for a second, those beads on the tail don't come sliding off. One of my test knitters had this happen to her, and she wrote me and was like, you know, I think maybe we should put that into the pattern. So we did. So the next thing you're going to do once you've got those 71 beads onto the tail is make a slip knot, and then put that slip knot onto your needle and tighten it down. And that counts as one stitch. So I've gone down my working yarn and I've slipped up a bead, and now I'm getting ready to work the cast on. This is very similar, the German twisted cast on, to a long tail cast on. When you do a long tail cast on, you take your needle tip and you come in between these two strands coming off your thumb. With German twisted cast on, come around to the back side of those two strands and go into that hole right there. And then bring your needle around and come around the strand coming off your index finger. And then you want to come right in this little sweet spot right here. There's a little cross right there and pull the yarn through. And what that does is create a cast on that isn't oriented more to the front side of the work or the wrong side of your work, but the yarns end up sitting perfectly on each side of this stitch, and that makes the beads not twist when you do this cast on. So when I used a long tail cast on, I found that those first two strands of beads were like twisting over each other, and this cast on avoids that. For those of you that have never worked a long tail cast on, the piece that I missed is the first thing you do is hug with your bottom three fingers and then split with your thumb and index finger and then drop down like that. So let me just show you this German twisted cast on again, and then I'll show you what's happening with the pattern. So take your needle tip, come behind those two strands on your thumb, drop down into the hole there in between those two strands, come around and grab the yarn coming off your index finger, and then come through that cross right there. And that is how you do the German twisted cast on. And I'm going to take that off because before you do any more stitches, you need to go and get 8 beads. Sorry, I had to go way out of frame there to go get these beads. Go get 8 beads from your tail and 7 beads from your working yarn, and slide those up, and now you're going to do another German twisted cast on. So let's make sure you can see that well. Make sure I'm focused. So you kind of hold these beads out of the way, and then I'm going to go do that same German twisted cast on again. So I'm going to come behind my thumb, into the hole, around that strand on the index finger, and then back through right there, and then pull down tight, and you can see that those beads end up sandwiched in between your cast on stitches. Isn't that pretty? This is so addictive. I could do it all day. And now you're going to go get one bead from your working yarn, and that should be a big bead if you've counted your beads correctly and strung them on correctly. That's the biggest trick with this, is to make sure that you check your stringing of your beads so that you have the right number on in the right order. And you can see I've got a big bead right there and a big bead right there, one from the tail, one from the working yarn, and now I'm going to German twisted cast on again. So I'm coming behind those two strands, down through the hole, around that strand coming off my index finger, and then right through that cross right there and pulling it down tight. And then you just continue on like that, following the cast on as it is written in the pattern. Again, please ask questions as you work on this. I'm happy to help you, and if you need some more video shot for this, I'm happy to do that too. Thank you very much.